I'm Barry Trammell, and I was all set to pick Florida State to upset the Sooners on Saturday in Tallahassee. And then I did a curious thing. I watched Oklahoma play.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough game, but we'll talk about who's going to win that game here on the Press Row from the Opubco Studios. Press Row is brought to you by Cox High-Speed Internet, and I'm Jenny Carlson.
It's a pop quiz from Cox. Your kids have the gadgets, but what do they really need to shoot to the top of the class? This great deal on Cox blazing fast high-speed internet. Get it today at the Cool in School sale from Cox.
All right, Barry, I like Oklahoma. I liked them from the preseason on in this game. But how do you see this game shaking out? I mean, this is going to be a tough road game for the Sooners.
Well, I like the way everything's set up for Florida State, the revenge factor, the getting the Sooners on the road factor. I mean, the Sooners have not played well on the road for the last several years. Landry Jones 4-5 in true road games. I know he won in Waco last year in a good game, and then won the big game in Bedlam. He's played well of late, but still, that's a bad track record. But I was so impressed with the way the Sooners played. Bob Stoops' teams played poorly in debuts, in season openers, and they were pristine against the Tulsa Golden Hurricane a week and a half ago. This is a team that was on all cylinders. All the veterans that we've seen over the last year or two playing at a very high level. I find it very difficult to pick against this Oklahoma team. I think it'll be tight. I think it'll be close, but I think the Sooners win it.
Yeah, and I don't think it'll be the blowout that it was a year ago either. I mean, I think what Oklahoma did in Norman to Florida State, you're not going to see that kind of blowout route again. Obviously, it was the first year for defensive coordinator Mark Stoops, Bob Stoops' younger brother, learning the system, still trying to get acclimated. Guys early in the season still trying to, get used to what exactly they're doing. They got better as the year went on, and they're going to be even that much better now heading into this season. But I do think Oklahoma has an advantage, and I think it's not only talent and skill, but I think there's got to be some measure of pressure on Florida State. They're now back into a more prominent role, and there's talk that this is, if not the biggest game, one of the biggest games in a very, very long time in Tallahassee. That's going to be talk that the players are going to hear about. And that pressure, I don't know, Barry, this is still a program on the build. I think that could get to them a little bit, just how big a magnitude game this is for this program.
I think it's an excellent question. How far has Florida State progressed? Obviously, they're not back to where they were during the salad days of Bobby Bowden, the early 90s into the late 90s, even into the 2000s. Florida State set a standard for excellence that really is unmatched in college football in terms of 10, 12, 14, 16-year run of elite football. But the Seminoles have fallen on hard times in the last decade. They've been slowly building it back, but how far back have they gotten? This is a watershed game for Florida State. And even though they were 10-4 last year, had a very nice Peach Bowl victory over South Carolina, I don't think we've seen evidence that Florida State is back to the elite level. Of course, Oklahoma has not played well on the road enough to make you think that it requires an elite level team to beat them. So, Missouri was not an elite team last season. Texas A&M really wasn't either. Sooners lost at both. So Oklahoma will have to play better than it has shown in recent years on the road. But I think this Sooner team is capable.
Yeah, and I think that a lot of people believe that E.J. Manuel, the quarterback for Florida State, is going to be more of a mobile, dual threat type of guy. He's really not as much of a dual threat guy as I think a lot of people would want to believe. He's more of a guy that would like to pass the ball first and maybe first, second, and third, but he can get out and move a little bit, but he's not the type of guy that has often given the Sooners a lot of trouble when you talk about mobile quarterbacks. Option quarterbacks. We've seen teams over the years maybe not be anywhere close to Oklahoma's talent level, but still keep it close because of that quarterback ability. I do think, again, I think it's going to be closer than last year, but I think a lot of people are looking at E.J. Manuel as maybe the guy that swings it towards Florida State's favor. If he was maybe more of that dual threat guy, more of an option type of guy, I might think that. I just think this Florida State offense is still an offense that you can predict more than maybe some of these option teams are. I think that plays into Oklahoma's defensive favor, and ultimately I think that plays into Oklahoma's hands to win this game. Hey, stay with the best coverage team anywhere at newsok.com and every day in the Oklahoman.